Good morning. How about a little coffee and a little market talk and an uplifting message? I decided to do these in the morning, these market coffee talks, just to get the day started right. And hopefully, some of you could benefit from it and have some comments and we can interact. The idea is that I would talk a little bit about something that's actionable, something that's um, positive, and also talk a little bit about what's going on in the markets, and I will be bringing on some guests as well. So look for some guests, some really good guests to come on. But one of the things I want to ask you is, who do you want to see on this? Is there anybody that you want to see? The big question is, what are you doing to rejuvenate yourself? What are the ways that you get yourself to renew? So, okay, so one of the things I found out is that, you might have a goal. If you're goal oriented like I am, you might push really hard towards a goal. Like, I don't know, you might have a goal that you want to send your kids to college, or you want to lose some weight, or you want to figure out some ways to save on your taxes, or you want to move to a new location. There's a million goals that you might have. So if you think about your goals and then you're moving really hard towards them, sometimes you could push, 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 and you're working harder and harder, but you feel like you're making no progress even though you're working really hard at it. And what can happen is you could feel like, I'm not going to make this goal. I feel defeated. And then you really start getting tired, right? And I think what happens is we push so hard sometimes that we don't actually become effective. So I know some people that are pretty successful that push all the time. I mean, 7 days a week. And but I would have to say most effective people that I know who run businesses or just in their life, they take time for rejuvenation. It may only be one day. Like for me, a lot of times it's just one day. It may just be Saturday for me, or it may be Saturday and Sunday, or it might be just a Friday and a Saturday. It just depends. But there's a few different things that I found I thought I'd share that help me rejuvenate. And I want to ask you, what helps you rejuvenate? Comment, tell me what you think. What do you do to rejuvenate? So I found that there's a few things that work. The first thing is creativity. So if you got to let your mind and your body go, at least I do. So it's not just your body; it's also your mind, and your mind has to get off the problem. So whatever goal that you're trying to solve, and for me, that's a hobby, and from the mental perspective. So for me, it's guitar. So playing something that's enjoyable and also something that's challenging. So you get your mind into right now focusing in on playing and creating. So that's the second part of it for me. It's something creative, not just regurgitating. It could be reading and creating. And then the other thing is for me has to do with exercise. So like if you physically exercise this morning, I bought a new set of bands that I use. And I have a weight set and stuff, but I used to go to the gym, but the gym has been, let's just say the gym I went to, people weren't social distancing enough. So I stopped going there. So now I'm trying to kind of recreate some of my exercise routine here in addition to some cardio. But if you get that exercise into, that releases everything. And so maybe if you're not getting any, if you're in a situation where you're not getting any progress, maybe you just need to rejuvenate. And that's, taking your hobbies. What are your hobbies? And are you pursuing them enough that you are enjoying them? Who are the people you want to be around is the other thing. You have to change your environment. So we're getting ready to go to South Carolina near the beach. And there's going to be some work involved, but there's also where the whole family's going to go. But that change of environment, I'll be doing some work, but just being in a new place, being by a beach, being around new people, going to different restaurants, that whole thing will rejuvenate your mind. And sometimes it doesn't have to be some big fancy trip. It could just be driving down to Colorado Springs, or it could be something that simple. But the change of environment is so important, and stop pushing. So like for me, it's stop pushing. And I know when I'm getting this way, stop pushing and then refresh. And it's sometimes I have to force myself because I'm so driven, right? So Do you ever have that? I mean, I don't know if you do. I definitely do. So I don't believe in 124/7 pushing, because when I've done that in the past, I've generally been less effective than when I'm strategic about what I do, and then rejuvenate. And so it's like a cycle. So let's talk a little bit about. By the way, be sure to share this with your friends and participate. Let me know what's going on. And I may actually be moving this to another location because we have some technology that is being developed that will put together a platform, which may be at a different location. So we might have to migrate to a different spot. Um, so anyway, like and share and subscribe if you're on YouTube, and meet me in the mornings here. So okay, I want to talk a little bit about the markets because there's a lot of cool stuff going on in the markets. I guess the biggest thing going on right now is people are really watching the earnings, right? Because U.S. stocks have been trading higher in early action today, and we had a sharp bounce from last week's drop. So we had a big drop last week, and we're kind of bouncing from that. We had a miss in the January non-farm payroll report, appearing to be kind of like a positive development. But the big thing is there's a lot of relief, so-called relief, coming on track. There's 1.9. I cannot believe the number, $1.9 trillion. It started off with 400 billion, then it became 900 billion, then it became a trillion. Now it's 1.9 trillion. And the current administration has decided they're going to put a bunch of stuff in there, like raising the minimum wage. They're just throwing a bunch of stuff in there that they've been wanting to do. And this is that old thing that the government does where they'll pack a bunch of stuff in, the inside of they'll put a wrapper around something that's supposed to be some like stimulus for the population, but they'll put a bunch of other stuff in there that has absolutely nothing to do with it. Such is life. So but that's one thing that's going on. But you know what's interesting is that earnings have been pretty darn good, better than expected. So we still have a lot of earnings to go. There's probably going to be some up and down. Ford, Pinterest, Johnson and Johnson. There's a lot of these earnings reports coming up. But I was looking at the charts this morning, and so one of the things that we do is we look for companies that we call them dynamic growth companies that have new products and new services in high demand, that their stocks are really shining. They're like outperforming the market, and their revenue is growing rapidly. Their profits are either moving into profit territory or the profits are accelerating. And we're seeing companies still do well, little companies that you haven't heard of. And we're also seeing signs that the economy is truly coming back to life. We have the energy stocks that are doing well, which shows that the economy is coming back on track. We have the home builders, Lowe's, and related stocks like Lowe's and PennyMac, which is financing. DR Horton. We're seeing that continue to revive. We were on this path for quite some time. That's why the market went down really fast and up really fast. So, when in March, when the market sold off, there was a lot of things that were already in play for us to get back on track. And so, as we've seen, we had a massive rally last year from the lows under the Trump administration, and now we're just following through with that. And I'm a little bit worried that we're actually throwing too much fiscal stimulus out. So we're seeing interest rates go higher on the long end of the yield curve. So that could be good. There's like small cap stocks that could do really, really well with that environment. I did a piece on stockcharts.com talking about that, how the small cap and international stocks under the new administration, they're probably going to be a lot nicer to China. And so Chinese stocks are taking off relative to the US, and the international stock market is taking off because we were doing a lot better than the international stocks since the financial crisis. We've been as a US stock market has been doing way better than the international markets. And now we're seeing, because of a change that's happening right now, we're going to see, most likely, if the trends continue as I see them, emerging markets do better. China is going to probably do a lot better. Take that as a good or bad. See, it's not my job to make a judgment about that politically. It's my job to say, how do we make money because that is my job, is to make money for clients. So, but I would really look at the Chinese stocks. So companies like Peloton too, Peloton has had a great rise already, and it's going sideways, and it looks like it may continue higher. So there's even a Colorado company, Grow Generations, a lot of the solar companies. So it's not all bad out there, and from a market perspective, things look pretty decent. We are overvalued from a fundamental standpoint by many measures, meaning that things are expensive. But the trend is your friend until it bends at the end. So, all right. So that's all for now. But so getting back to our main topic, the rejuvenating your mind. If there's anything that you could do to rejuvenate yourself, if you need to get creative, look at your hobbies, exercise more, change your environment, stop pushing so hard, you'll probably look better on the end of that process than if you just continue on the same path. I know that has worked for me. Hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you at 8 a.m.